Book Talk has been screaming at and DMing me for 24 hours straight. A lot of them are agreeing with me. A lot of them are telling me that my IQ is below room temperature and that I've never read a book in my entire life. But then something amazing happened. Researchers, authors, and writers started DMing me. This question that I'm asking apparently isn't new. It's been getting asked for decades, and we're now at a point where all of these things are starting to converge on a point of consensus. So I made this go from a silly little question to something that I think is honestly going to bother a lot of people. Because the average age that a boy finds corn and a girl finds smut is the same, 12 years old. As the saying that is older than me goes, men watch corn, women read it. And the motivation behind this makes it even crazier. See, in the hundreds of DMs and literal thousands of comments cross-platform, these are the most common reasons that people have said. It's just an escape where we get to see a perfect man. Yeah, because it's a man written by a woman. It's the exact same logic as a man going, oh, it's just an escape where I can see a woman who's down for anything. Yeah, because it's a woman given acting cues by men. What if the same people own these industries? Oh, wouldn't that be fucking weird? Oh, it's just an escape. That's what men say. It's just a safe environment to explore something new with no judgment. That's what men say. Oh, real guys just aren't like my Book Talk boyfriend. Oh, well, real girls, you get the idea. I can't even put these studies on the screen because TikTok will ban the video, but they do exist for eyes that want to see. Remember I said the average age for both genders across both industries is 12? Isn't that the same age kids begin their development into adults? What a weird coincidence. It's not like there's subtle marketing that's finding them, is there? Where are young boys forming the majority of their sexual education? Oh, it's corn. What about girls? Oh my god, is romantasy consistently the top genre for young girls? Let's again remember my question. Are these books impacting women the same way that corn was affecting young men? I graduated high school when 50 Shades came out. I was in high school when Twilight was popping off. I actually read that book. You know, the one where all like the young girls were falling in love with like super toxic Edward. Granted, most people will be like, oh, these books are trash. Most people will say, yeah, 50 Shades is basically just glorified abuse. And I would agree with that. I would also put forward that between 2011 and 2016, you could not talk to a woman who wasn't exploring schmee-DSM because of what they found in those books. And from that, a ton of young men who were trying to match and meet that desire with equally bad education from corn. And Tumblr, I mean, if we're gonna be real. Oh my god, I wonder if these two books could have influenced anything. I wonder if there are entire Reddit threads of women talking about how these books negatively impacted their relationships. I wonder if there are entire Reddit threads about guys talking about how corn negatively impacted their relationship. What a weird commonality. But here's the really damning part. Mary Harrington coined the term the law of pornodynamics. Law 2, by her, is the law of FAP entropy. That essentially says that whatever is getting you off, at some point in time, you're gonna need something a little more intense, a little more wild to get that same effect. That is exactly what happened to young boys with corn. The industry knows that, which is why there is a pipeline of increasingly more depraved content as they get deeper down that rabbit hole. How gracious they are to their consumers. And if you read young women's experiences, it's always, oh, it started out so tame, and then somehow I ended up down the dark romance rabbit hole. I cannot read lines from those books on TikTok. Corn consumption has gone up nearly 700% in young women. And the average age for finding it? 13. The year after the average age of finding these books. Wow, that sounds so much like what happened to young boys. The slippery slope is not a fallacy, it is a reality. From the food we enjoy to our interests to our kinks. And for young women, that slippery slope seems to begin with perfect man written by woman. And for young guys, it is woman who's down for anything directed by man. It's these two things that bother me the most. Someone who experienced something awful for several years that a child should not experience, there's overwhelming evidence that when a child is exposed to or experiences sexual content, that child will progressively lean toward more elevated experiences. So who makes corn? Who's writing these books? Why is their heaviest consumer and target market children? Maybe the corn industry was able to deny it for a while, but I mean, what's the data showing? I mean, isn't it weird that adults are producing this kind of content, books and corn, and are, let's be real, knowing who the primary consumer is? This isn't a call to like regulate this stuff. I'm sure there are totally normal, moderate users of this stuff. It is, as I said at the beginning, a question. And I'm clumsily asking in front of tens of thousands of people, is it not reasonable to ask, are these books negatively impacting women in a similar way that corn was negatively impacting young men? And to all the people who are making the prude jokes, I was so far down the degen rabbit hole in my 20s that I hit bedrock.